The Three Revolution Future Mobility Program is a very new research and policy program. We launched the program in 2017, so it's less than 1 year ago, and the focus of the program is to investigate the impacts of what we call the three revolutions: shared mobility, autonomous vehicles, and vehicle electrification.
One of the main benefits of an event like the Three Revolution Conference is the multitude of stakeholders that are sitting together and listening and discussing all the issues that we as a system are facing regarding all these disruptions related to the Three Revolutions.
I've been part of this community with UC Davis over the last few years as its focus on autonomous, shared and electric transportation has grown, and what we've seen is that now there's a tremendous interest from all sectors, from industry, from civil society, from policymakers who realize that this technology is now becoming very close to a real phenomenon that consumers can interact with.
So one of the wonderful things about the Three Revolutions Conference is that it really brings together a very diverse group of people from the policy side to academic researchers, and then folks from the private sector, both automotive companies as well as new mobility firms, to try to really understand the challenges that we face as these new services are entering cities. The panel that I was moderating focused on the travel behavior impacts of shared and potentially autonomous mobility in the future. And I moderated a panel with mostly researchers as well as regional planners who are really trying to understand how can we forecast and plan for the introduction of these services.
We do have a major car culture in the US and in California. LA is a good example of a car culture. But what we're finding is that people are starting to move away from that, and their identities are starting to be not captured by their car. They have a social media presence, or they have other outlets for that. And so the younger generation, really, they're not buying vehicles for the most part that are their identity. Whereas, even 10, 20 years ago, I remember standing in line to get my driver's license because a vehicle was your identity. By sharing rides, not only are folks sharing rides and sharing rides more, but that's good for our business because we can provide a lower cost service, which brings in more customers, which helps us undercut the cost of personal vehicles, which is ultimately what we're after.
Most of the legacy players, transportation providers, automotive companies, are essentially operating in the dark without data. We don't really have a good handle on how the influx of these new services are changing people's travel behavior.
I realized that I'm not the only one that doesn't know exactly what's going to happen. These are three revolutions that are disrupting both the passenger side, the manufacturing of vehicles, and the freight. So the future is kind of interesting with all the things happening today.
We live at a time in which we need to develop policies to regulate transportation in the future, and we have very little information. And this program is trying to develop the knowledge that is needed to inform the government and industry decision in this area.